For most of you, it's the same day. For me, it's a different day, and because of this, because of the fact that the daylight changed, I needed to change the place from which I'm recording. So now I feel a bit like one of those celebrities that show their mansion in MTV Cribs. Yeah, so welcome to my house. Yeah, but now we will focus in some very basic introduction to R. So after recording the first episode, I asked somebody to proof watch the whole episode, and it turned out that apparently the font is super small. Yeah, and the reason for this is that the resolution of my display may be too large. Yeah, and right now I can fix it. Yeah, I will fix it in the next episodes. Yeah, and for all of you who have problems with reading what I type, always you can visit this website. Yeah, where I upload the whole code that I typed during this session. Okay. Yeah. So sorry for this. Yeah, and again, I'm learning, and I'm doing my best to have the best class, which is as good as possible. Yeah. Okay. First, R is an app that you can run. It's a standalone app that can be run this way. Yeah, and this is if you download R from our website, you will get something like this on macOS or Linux. I think that in Linux the interface is similar. In Windows this is completely different. Yeah. So basically, yeah. Here we have this interface. Yeah, and using commands we can interact with R and ng. Yeah. So for instance, yeah, we type. It works like very simple calculator. 2 plus 2 is, no surprise, 4. 2 times 3 is, because of order of operations, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So it should be 8. And it's 8. Yeah. Yeah. So the most basic operations, arithmetical operations, are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Yes, so this is addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Also, if we want to raise now some number to given power, we use head. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, and also the power can be a real number, just like here. Yep. Yeah, so this is it. Yeah, but yeah, it's all those things are very basic, and you can do this on standard calculator installed with most operating systems. And where the beauty of R is that there are additional commands. Yeah, for instance, this command tells R to provide the current working directory. Yeah, so right now that's the directory in which, if I save any outcomes, it will be saved on my computer in this directory. If, on the other hand, I want to change the directory, I use set wd, set working directory. Yes, so for instance, if I want to change this, I type, yeah, I want to change this to user/pytka/documents. Yeah, I can type doc, and if I press tabulator, it will autofill. Yeah, so it will check whether there are some directories inside users/pytka that start with doc. Yeah, so this autofill option is quite convenient. Yeah, And yeah, so now if I write get wd, it should be new directory. Pytka documents, not users Pytka, because of this comment. Yep. And also what is important, that if we provide the path of our directory, this must be, we have to use also quotation in front and after the path. Yeah, so it's so-called string. Yeah, and we need to use this quotation, but also it will work just fine if we use single quotation. Set wt. Yeah, and this works just fine. Yeah, easy. I think so. And in Windows, everything works exactly the same way. Yeah, and yeah. And that being said, to be very honest, nobody, literally, I don't know a single person that uses standard R console, because it's super inconvenient. And so there are maybe not many, but there are a few so-called integrated development environments for R, and for the rest of the course we will use one of those, the most popular, and I would say the most major one, which is called RStudio. Yeah, this is RStudio. Wait a moment, maybe I think that I should increase font size for yeah, it is more visible now. Yep. Yeah, and this application, as I said, this is the integrated development environment. What does it mean? It communicates user, us, with R, with some additional augmentations. Yes, so just like before, we have R console that works exactly the same. 2 plus 2 is 4. It's also 8. Yeah, so everything here, this part is exactly the same. Yep. But what is new is that we have additional windows that makes our interaction with R much smoother. Yes, so let me open new file. Here, new file, R script. Yeah, this is, yeah, I have many tabs opened. Yeah, so it's quite chaotic. Yeah, but yeah, so here, tabula rasa. Yeah, we start from scratch, and what is nice is that we can type part of our code here without running this, because yeah, we may not be so sure whether this is correct code, and we may want to think about whether we want to compute this or yeah, whether we want to compute this or this. Yeah, so it's quite convenient to write this on in this editor. Yeah, and then we select the fragment of the code, just like here, and yeah, I'm used to shortcuts from macOS, and in macOS this is Command Enter. Command Enter. This sends selected part of the code to R. Yeah, so if we have now this, I select this with keyboard, Command Enter, and this is sent here. Yeah, also, and yeah, this is 2 times 12, and the output of this operation is 24. Yeah, so what is convenient is that also I can run several lines of code. Yeah, so I select few lines of code, yeah, and yeah, and this is all those lines are sent here. Wait a moment. Clear console. Yeah. So tabula rasa once again. Yeah. So this is one thing. Okay, and now I realize that I forgot to mention one important thing, namely, yeah, still I'm learning how to create such videos, yeah, and I would like you to ask, I would like to ask you not to upload those videos anywhere, yeah, on YouTube, Vimeo, or other services, yeah, and also the purpose of existence of this teddy bear up there is to generate watermark that will allow me to check whether this was uploaded. Yeah, so please don't do it. Yeah, and let's get back to R. Yeah, so here we have simple operations. Also, we have to remember that those operations are in many cases there are exact results that are consistent with what we have in mathematics, but from time to time, because for instance for computers have some problems with operating with real numbers. It may be from time to time it may be only approximation. So for instance, sqrt, this is, yeah, that's a function for square root. Yeah, you see, sqrt, and in particular, if we compute square root of 2 and raise to the power of 2, we should get what? 2. Yeah, and if we subtract number 2, what we would expect is to get the number which is exactly equal to 0. And you see, this is what we should get, 0, but we get some very small number, because this e minus 16, this means that this is 4.4 times 10 to the power of minus 16. So this number is very small, but this is not exactly 0. Yeah, so the quite important digression, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Another very short digression is about commenting your code. Yeah, so using hash, you can type something which is ignored, since hash, all characters typed are ignored by R. Yeah, so if we write here something like this, not exactly 0, if I type this here, R doesn't understand this, yeah, because it's not written in R. But if the very first letter will be hash, then yeah, it just ignores. Also, it is convenient here to comment your code just to show what given line does. Yeah, and so this is it. Here now assignment. This will be new section, and we will talk about assignments. Yes, so what is very convenient is to assign the result of some operations to new objects, new or old objects, some objects. Yes, so for instance, if we want to save this result of this operation, we can write that x is equal to this. Yeah, and maybe I should do it. Sorry. So first, x, such an object doesn't exist. Yeah, error object X not found. But we can create this object, and we can use assignment operator. In most programming languages, you can use this sign, equal. Yeah. So you have this, and now, if you type X, this object now it exists, and also it exists in the memory of R, and it can be called every time you want to return to this result. It's enough to say X. Also, what is convenient, and this is one of first differences between plain R without integrated development environment and RStudio, is that here we have additional windows, an additional window where we can see the list of all objects that are kept in the memory at the current moment. Yes, so this is it. If we can create object y equal to 4, yeah, and this object was created. Now we have new object y. Also, what is worth mentioning is that we can that spaces are ignored by R, and for visibility, from time to time, it's good to make some spaces between commands that we run. Yeah. So this is it. Also, what is quite unique for R is that most programming languages use this operator as assignment operator, but in R also we have this, yeah, this ASCII arrow, yeah, and it works exactly the same as equality, yeah, and yeah, it's a matter of taste. To be honest, yeah, I prefer this operator. Yeah. Yep. Yes. So. Yep. I prefer this assignment operator not only because it looks cooler, but also it's a bit more flexible. Because, for instance, here I can make multiple assignments. Yeah. 42. Yeah. And all those two numbers were changed with this fancy assignment operator. Yeah. Apart from, yeah, this is left arrow. Yeah, but also we can use right arrow. Yeah. And this assigns. Yeah. Actually, this, to be honest, it's not so useful here, but it's good to know. Yeah. Yeah, the fancier assignment would be something like this. Yeah. So I believe that it should work. I hope so. That number 123 is assigned to y and x at the same time. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Yeah. So this is it about assignment operators, and yes. So, and then after those assignments, we can, instead of using those numbers, just like here we have x is equal to 123, we can so instead of typing 123, we can use x, and we can use mathematical operations using those new objects that we generated. Next thing that we're gonna discuss are classes of objects. Yes, so each object that we create exhibits one of three fundamental classes. Yeah, and at this moment, at this moment, classes of objects, and at this moment so far we used two classes. Yeah, the first class is numerical class, yeah, and if we type x equal to 12, and we use command class, we will get that it's numeric. Yeah, another class that we know that we used but not in explicit way are characters. Yeah, and so if we write w is assigned to some string with quotes, then we will have this and we check the class, it will be character. Yeah, so before the first time when we used a character was to provide a path for our working directory. Yeah, and this is it. Yep. And what is important that let me check my cheat sheet. Okay. Yeah, we can list. Yeah, so all objects that we have in the memory can be seen here, but also we can use command ls. Yeah, ls, and then we get the list of all objects of all names of the objects kept in the memory of R. If we want to remove one of objects, we use, so this stands for list, and if we want, for instance, if we want to remove w, we type rm remove w, and then you see that here there is no w, and also if we type this, yes. If we want to delete all objects kept in the memory, there are two ways. Either you click this icon, or you type rm list equal to ls. The result will be the same. Yep, and here you see that the environment is empty right now. Yeah, so yeah. What is also good, noteworthy to mention is that there is semicolon that allows us to type several commands in one line. So this tells us that what we type after a semicolon is a new command, yeah, and this is what we get. Yeah, so if we do the same thing without semicolon, yeah, we will get error message. Yeah, so error message. Yep. Yes. So now we have. I mentioned that we have several classes of objects. Right now I mentioned only about two classes: characters and numeric objects, and yeah, and the very last object, the third type, is logical, and it can be true or false. Yeah, and yeah, this is it. And those objects will be useful for us in further commands like logical statements. Yeah, that logical statements that allow us to run part fragments of the code conditioned on some whether some statements are true or false. Yeah, so we check whether this part of the code is true, and if it is, we run this part of the code. If not, we may run another part of the code. Yeah, so those objects also will be useful for us, logical. Yeah, those logical objects also are created by those logical so-called logical statements. So if we write this 3 smaller than 4, this should be true. Yeah, and if we type that 3 is greater than 4, we ask R whether it's true or false, and we see that it's false. Yeah. Also, instead of true and false, we can use short form, capital T for true and capital F for false. Yeah. Yeah. In general, it is recommended to use the same type. So if we make any operations with several objects, in most cases we want to use the same object, the objects of the same class together. Yeah. So if we make this operation here, we add two numeric objects, 12 and 2. If we write something like this in R, we will get error message. On the other hand, however, there is one exception for this type of operations, namely if you type 12 plus true, then value true, it will be converted to 1, and false will be converted to 0. Yeah, so 12 plus true is 13. 12 plus false is 12. 12 times false, it should be 0. Yeah, and it is. Yeah, so while it's not possible to make those arithmetic operations using characters and numeric objects, it is possible to use to pull logical objects and numeric objects in one arithmetic operations, one arithmetic operation. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention regarding logical statements that I will discuss more carefully very soon is that we have to be careful in statements like this. Yeah, that's for some people it may be that I'm checking whether 3 is smaller than -4. Yeah, but for R and for other people it's not ambiguous, because also it may be considered as assignment operator. Yeah, so here we will get, yeah, R will think about this as assignment operator rather than comparison between 3 and -4, error. And to circumvent this problem, we have to put space here. Yeah, and here we get correct answer. Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about names of objects. So far we didn't use very sophisticated names for objects, but there is some convention that we have to stick to. Because otherwise R doesn't allow us to create such objects. Yeah. So important thing is that first important thing is that we have to remember that R is case sensitive. So X and capital X and small x are not the same numbers. Yeah, are not the same objects. Yeah, and now, yeah, we'll get error message because capital X, yeah, doesn't exist. Yeah, now we can write. So now we have two objects, both named X, but because of the fact that R is R and Unix-based systems in general are case sensitive. Yeah, so another example is that variable, and the variable, those are two different names, yeah, or for instance this, also two different those two lines refer to two different objects if there are in the memory, yeah, in the memory I should say, yeah. Okay, and yeah, so first takeaway message from this is that R is case sensitive, and it can start with anything but a number. Yes, so we can write such a variable, it's fine. But if we want to create such a variable, we will get error message here, because variables or objects can start the name of those objects cannot start with numbers. Yes, so this is another example. Error message. Also, we are not allowed to so-called special characters, and those special characters are those. This hat, exclamation mark, dollar sign, at arithmetic operators, and I think that this is it. Okay, so examples of good names. Here those are two different objects. So let's make assignment to the same thing, just to see whether indeed we're allowed to create such objects. Also here we can use hyphen, yeah, because obviously we cannot use space, yeah, because then for R it will this will mean that we refer to two different objects. Yeah, so if we want to create a variable that refers to one sentence, we have to use hyphen. Yeah, for instance, during the coronavirus, I stay home. And I cannot use exclamation mark. Yes, so yeah. And now I have very long variable of this name. Yeah. By the way, if I want now, we see that we have this object in the memory, but admittedly the length of the name is very long. Yes, so writing this is quite cumbersome. Yes, so for this reason, also in RStudio we can use autocomplete. Here we see that it finds object it suggests that we may want to refer to this object, and to autocomplete this we press tab, yeah, and then this is it. Yeah, so we can create those objects. Yeah, we can start variables with dot, why not? Also, I mentioned before that we cannot use numbers but at the beginning. Yeah, so we can create without any problem a variable that has number in any place but the first letter, the first character. Yeah, so let's run this chunk of the code and let's see whether we don't get any error messages. Yeah, and as you can see, everything works here. So now those are examples of good names, and now we will use examples of bad names. Yeah, so this, we had this example before, yeah, but let's keep it. Let's use this is one of special characters that I mentioned here, and yep, another example of special character, and yeah, yeah, you see, so we don't use those, we don't use those characters in naming our objects. Yeah. Okay. What else? Yeah. So now let's clean the memory. And now, intentionally, okay, let's do it correctly. Yes, I wanted to generate a mistake here, but let's do it correctly, and we will return to this later. Okay. So it was the first part of the actual content, yeah, and for your convenience, I decided to split the whole course into smaller chunks, yeah, that you are able to download this and watch only part of the course, and you don't have to download everything at once. Yeah, so I think that right now the length of this part is a bit too lengthy in my opinion. Yeah, because I was thinking about 20 minutes or something like this. This is more like 35 or even more. Yeah, so next parts will be shorter. Yeah, and yep, and this is it. Yeah, so I hope that you enjoyed this part. Yeah, and see you soon.